Welcome to the Estate Street Podcast, Episode 1. Our guest today is Samantha Moshella, a women's health and fitness coach and the owner of EverFit. Good morning, Samantha. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Well, thank you so much for joining me on Estate Street. Really excited to have you. And so I know that you are a women's health and fitness coach. Tell me a little bit about EverFit and what you do for us women.
Yes, so I started this company a little over 2 years ago. I was a teacher at the time and a single mom, so I was burning the candle at both ends and just realized that wasn't really the lifestyle I wanted moving forward. And like many other women, I can relate to the fact that we kind of put ourselves on the back burner to take care of our kids, to take care of our house, to take care of, our friends and family, to take care of our careers and clients and stuff like that. So I saw that happening in my own life and realized that I needed to do something differently because I used to think that taking care of myself was selfish because I was taking time away from my kids, taking time away from my responsibilities, taking time away from my friends and family. But what I realized was that when I did that, those people that I cared about got the best version of me. So yeah, maybe it was a little bit less time with them, but it was better quality time I was spending with them. So when I decided to transition out of teaching because I was super stressed, this was coming out of COVID, I was kind of thinking of what my next steps would be. And health and fitness has always been a part of my life. I would say off and on, I was an athlete as a child. I was in the military and then, got into mom mode where, like I was kind of telling the story here, I kind of put myself on the back burner. And getting back into that really just, it changed my trajectory, I would say, moving forward. So I was like, if I can help other women do this, and take my passion for teaching and health and fitness and kind of wrap it all together and work with women and help them really prioritize themselves and become the best version of themselves as far as health and fitness goes, that just it was a no-brainer for me. So I went and got my personal training certification. I got my nutrition coaching certification. I started working with friends and family to begin with, and then just, started my own business. And here I am 2.5 years later and super excited to be moving into 2025 with this business and, with my clients and just everything that's yet to come. It's exciting.
Did something have to happen first, like a diagnosis, for you to make a change?
Well, so when I turned 35, my birthday is in October. So my birthday, it's always kind of a downhill slope because it's my birthday and then Halloween and then Thanksgiving and then Christmas. Well, that year I put on 15 pounds between my birthday and the end of the year. And I was like, okay, a lot of women or a lot of people in general is like New Year's resolution. I'm going to hit it hard. I'm going to exercise and diet and all the things. And I did those things and I was still gaining weight. Your hormones start to shift around that time. I had a lot of stress in my life. This was actually, looking back, it was shortly before I went through a divorce. So there was a lot of stress in the house, work-related stress, kid-related stress, marriage-related stress, all the things. So that was kind of like an aha moment for me. I went to the doctor for my checkup and my doctor was this crusty old man. And I was like, listen, I used to diet and exercise to lose weight, and now I'm doing it to just not gain weight. And his response was, welcome to middle age. And I was like, ouch, like that can't be it. Like this cannot be it, right? So I left the doctor's office feeling defeated. I went home and buried myself in a tub of cookie dough ice cream and, a sappy movie, right? But then I was like, you know what, this can't be it. Like, there's no way. I'm 35. I've always had like kind of an active, healthy lifestyle. What is going on here? So I fired that doctor, went back to a women's doctor, who was close in age to me, maybe slightly ahead, and somebody who I could really relate to. And that's one of the reasons why I focus specifically on women, because I can really relate to the story. I can relate to the struggle. I can relate to the, pregnancy weight gain, the weight gain when you move or do a big career change or kind of letting yourself go and putting yourself on the back burner. And that's essentially what it was stress. So I could kind of joke and be like, I got a divorce and lost 160 pounds right away. But
You had a skinny husband. I had a much bigger husband.
Well, he was only 5'7", so but no, he's a great man. So I hate to pick at him here, but yeah. So I had a lot of stress in my life, and a lot of women, they'll come to me and be like, I don't understand. I'm eating healthy. I'm exercising regularly. Why am I not losing weight? And my first questions are like, how is your stress level? How are you sleeping? Because those are all like, there's so many other things that factor into it, right? So that's really what got me interested in it. So like I said, I had put on the weight there. I started making little changes because the big changes that you do on New Year's resolutions, they don't work. They're not sustainable, right?
Oh, you're
So
kidding me,
just
right? You're kidding me. I stick to all of mine every year. What are you talking about?
right. I would do, see, I used to do really good with a New Year's resolution until Girl Scout cookies came out. And then I just right off the wagon, right? Like the first time you go into the grocery store and they're out there with the boxes, it's like, oh, right. But just learning that you can enjoy those things in moderation and listening to your body. Our bodies are remarkable at telling us what we need. Um, but we learn to tune that out over the years. Because think all the way back to childhood, a baby cries when they're hungry, they stop eating when they're full, that kind of thing. And then you get into like toddlerhood and preschool where you're locked into a routine. This is breakfast time, this is snack time, this is lunchtime. And it doesn't matter what your hunger cues are or what your fullness cues are, you're going to eat, right? Eat until you clean your plate, or you're not allowed to have dessert, right? Or, you go do something, you perform well, you get a cookie, you get a lollipop, you get an ice cream. Like we learn all these negative behaviors that are tied to food. And then plus in the culture now, it's a convenience culture. We're not out there running around like kids used to, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So they're on their phones. We're on our phones all day. We're sedentary. Once we become adults, we're sitting on the sofa, sitting at our desks, sitting in the car. So it's just little things that you can do throughout the day to help you feel better. And when you focus on how your body feels and feeling your best, then naturally your weight will kind of take care of itself, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What was the very first thing you did? Like, because one of the things for me is COVID really got me sitting more. Obviously, everything shut down. I work at a desk for a living. What is the very first thing? Like, I'm looking even for myself and the people that I know to get started again. And that's
Right.
always the hardest part for me. What's the
Yes.
very first thing to do?
The very first thing I did was I started walking. Because COVID, I was a teacher during COVID. So we were teaching from home on our computers on a meet, a lot like this. In between meets, I would close my computer and I would go walk 15 minutes if that's all I had. If I could do 20 or 30 minutes, great. But just to get up and start moving throughout the day. And I did that multiple times throughout the day. So I'd sit on a meet for an hour or so, go take a 15-minute walk, come back and get some work done, take another 15-minute walk. So walking was a big thing and it got me outside because like you said, we were kind of stuck inside. Nobody could go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. So it just got me out in nature. So I was breathing fresh air. I was feeling refreshed. I was out there. This was spring, right? So the weather was gorgeous. You got all the beautiful colors of the leaves and the flowers and the trees and everything like that. So walking was because my first thing. And then from there, I got into hiking and I started hiking a lot. But yeah, just getting outside, getting fresh air and walking. And then from there, I really started tuning into the food choices I was making because at the time, my desk was in my kitchen and it was just way too early because I remember I had a drawer full of Easter candy. And it was just way too easy to be like, shoveling candy in between, meetings and stuff like that. So learning to go, am I really hungry or am I bored? Or, am I just thirsty? Thirsty is a big thing because a lot of times we think we're hungry when in fact we're thirsty. So just kind of listening to your body and questioning like, do I really need to eat this? Is this something that's going to help me or hurt me? Is this going to make me go towards my goals or away from my goals? So it's just little mindset things. So getting up and getting moving and then just questioning my food choices, right? Now, it didn't mean I didn't have Easter candy because I sure did. But I wasn't eating it, all day throughout the day like I had been at that time, right? So yeah, it's just little things, little things. And everybody's little thing is going to be different just depending on their starting point. But yeah, and then from there that just I gained momentum and started doing more stuff, started doing more formal workouts, started making smoothies, started, kind of shopping differently and putting the candy away and, stuff like that. And it just kind of snowballed into what a healthy lifestyle looks like for me. So,
So it's not inevitable that middle-aged women are just going to put on weight and be unhealthy.
no, we don't have to. Absolutely. Obviously, your hormones go through some changes. So you will likely have to make some adjustments to your lifestyle, to your diet and stuff like that. But no, like we don't have to deal with middle age weight gain. It's like, who was it that used to say this? It's common, but not normal, meaning that it's common. It happens to a lot of us. But think of the lifestyle changes. How is your lifestyle different at 40 than it was at 20? You're less active, right? Your metabolism has started slowing down, but you haven't changed the way you're eating to match that. So that leads to that natural couple pounds that we put on here and there. So you have to pause for a minute and go, well, wait a minute. Now I need to adjust my diet and exercise to match my lifestyle, or adjust my lifestyle to match my diet and exercise, and start to find a balance. So yeah, and most of us at that age have just been spending the last 10, 15 years taking care of other people. So relearning to take care of ourselves, right? So yeah.
It reminds me of what you just said about, common versus normal.
Right.
And the idea of like, well, this just runs in my family. It's inevitable. Diabetes runs in my family, heart disease. And then it's the idea of, well, actually, you're learning lifestyle habits from your family. So is it really genetic or is it learned behavior that we're just copying? And
Yes, and that's a great question. And it's probably a combination of both. Obviously, it's hard to identify specifically. Genetics do play a factor in it. But yeah, like you're saying, people who grew up in a household where all they ate was processed food, where there was no motivation to be active, they're going to learn that lifestyle and those habits, and they're going to take them with them into adulthood. So it's just like a lot of other things where you have to break the cycle, right? So, yeah.
That's the hardest part. And I recently we were talking and you said if you don't make time for health, you'll have to make time for illness. I think that was a quote. If you remember the quote, you can.
Yes, yes, that was during the presentation I was given last week. But yeah, absolutely. Like I hear a lot of times I don't have time, and I get it. I get it. Single mom, business owner, doing all the things. I get it. But if you don't make time to prioritize your health, you're going to be forced to take time to take care of your illness, right? And then think about like just how you feel moving through your day. I know if I get up and I don't work out in the mornings, I just feel kind of blah the rest of the day, right? There's a huge difference. And now, obviously, the first time you're working out, the first week you're working out, the first month you're working out, you may not get that same feeling. But once you make it a part of your routine and a part of your habit, and then you miss it, you're going to notice the difference, right? So you want to feel better moving throughout your day and throughout your week. But in the long run, it's about your health. And when you're healthy, health is wealth, right? You're gonna live longer, you're gonna have better relationships, you're gonna be more productive at work, you're gonna, have less sick days, you're gonna be able to do all the things you love and enjoy versus being stuck dealing with diabetes, dealing with, obesity, dealing with heart disease, dealing with, whatever, happens to go on in your life or whatever. So just be preemptive, make it a priority now so you're not dealing with those things later on.
So speaking of 2025 around the corner, are you making big New Year's resolutions?
See, I don't make New Year's resolutions. I will set a few goals, but they're more like my goals were like run a 5K once a month or read a book every month or, those kind of goals. It's not like it's more of a lifestyle. Like what habit can I bring into my life that's gonna, you know, project me towards my goals, right? So if I want to be a better business owner, well, let's pick out some books that go with business ownership or podcasts or something like that. If I want to be in shape, which I want to do, well, then let's set some gym goals or, some kind of goals related to that or, whatever it is I'm working on for the year, it's more focusing on the habits that are going to get me there versus the end goal itself, because that end goal is so far away. Even if it's just to lose 20 pounds, for example, like every pound is a milestone, right? But looking out 20 pounds, it can take one person can lose that in a month. One person could take 6 months or longer to lose that. So if you're constantly looking at the scale going 20 pounds, 20 pounds, 20 pounds, it messes with your mind. And it's so hard to like just be down on yourself and give up. Where if you think, I want to lose 20 pounds, what's going to get me there? I'm going to walk for 30 minutes every day. And I'm going to add veggies to, 3 meals a day or whatever the case may be. Like pick one, two, maybe three little things that are going to get you there and make those your resolutions or the habits that you want to work on to get to your end goal. Because a lot of times with resolutions, we bite off way more than we can chew. We go way over. It's like the pendulum, right? The pendulum swing. We're over here, doing the things, but we want to be, so we swing all the way over here to do all the things, but we need to like incrementally make adjustments to find like the balance between, what you were doing to what you want to do and how it makes you look and feel. And I know I'm probably rambling right now, but yes, I don't do resolutions. I set a couple of goals that are habit related to just start incorporating into my day, week, or month to really just, get me where I want to be in the long term.
It's funny. I was just having that conversation with my son about the pendulum swing. It's very American. We're like, all meat, red meat, red wine in excess. I'm like, okay, I don't feel good. I'm going to go vegan and not going to touch any alcohol. And then, maybe you don't feel good on that. And it's kind of like, okay, we've never, the opium epidemic, right? Opioid. It's like we were prescribing it like candy. And now we really don't prescribe it even when someone's getting surgery. It's like, we never have that middle ground. It's very American, I feel like,
Yes.
or maybe human, I'm not sure. But it really is that idea of trying to find something that is long lasting. I mean, I was told, every diet you go on, you actually gain all the way back plus 5 pounds. So it's not about a diet, it's about an actual lifestyle that is more sustainable than extreme in either direction.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because when you go on a diet, you feel restricted, right? And who wants to feel restricted or deprived? And then when that opportunity opens up, you either like go all in and overboard, right? Or it just doesn't create this healthy mindset around food too. Like food is not good or bad. It's inherently neutral. Food can be used for fuel. Food can be used for fun. And ideally, it needs to be used for both, mostly fuel. But you need to have some fun in there with what you eat too. You need to enjoy your meals because then you're going to be motivated to keep eating them, right? So yeah, it's just, but little baby steps. That's what's sustainable. Master one or two healthy habits. And once you get those down, add one or two more, and then keep building those healthy habits on top of each other. And that's what's going to get you down the 20 pounds or 100 pounds or to run your first 5K or, whatever your goal is. So, yeah.
I'm more motivated just listening to. I'm like, all right, I gotta go for a walk right now.
There you go.
What is your favorite indulgence?
Ooh, doing like food wise?
Whatever it comes to your mind. That's an open-ended question.
Ooh,
I guess unhealthy, something unhealthy indulgent.
Well, that's the thing. Again, like it's rainy today, so I would love to just curl up on the sofa with a blanket and watch a movie and be lazy all day, right? Now, could I do that today and be fine? Absolutely. Could I do it every day and be fine? No way, right? So this time of year, cookies. I love a warm, freshly baked cookie. Summer months, it's more of an ice cream. I've got a huge sweet tooth, so give me some ice cream and yum, 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 right? But it comes down to you can't do it every day, right? Or all day, every day at least. But I do usually have a dessert just about every day. But it's something small in moderation, right? If I'm eating healthy throughout the day, I can indulge a little bit. That's that 80-20 rule, right? If you have goals that are related to performance or weight loss or something like that, you may want to go like a 90-10 split. But as long as 80 to 90% of your calories come from healthy whole food sources and are within your calorie range, then that extra 10 to 20% can be something fun, something that, satisfies your sweet tooth or your salty tooth or just that, comfort food or whatever the case may be that you're seeking. So, yeah.
And then how would someone work with you? Do they reach out to you? Do you have a program? What is that like?
Yeah, so reach out to me. I mean, I'd love to connect. I do free discovery calls and we can talk about your goals and next steps. I can do virtual coaching. I can do in-person coaching where I go to them if they're in the local area. And based on their goals and, kind of what they want from a coaching perspective, what kind of support they need, I can do everything from, personalized workouts and, personal training to nutrition coaching to, just check-ins. Like I can give them a DIY program if that's something that I've done before, where we'll do an assessment and I'll be like, here, this is what you need to do. And you start working your program and reach out if you have questions. But really, like what works for most clients is that continual accountability loop, right? Because a lot of times we know what we should be doing. It's just a matter of sticking to it, right? So yeah, so I love to connect. I love to talk to people about their goals and figure out a plan that works for them. So
Awesome. Well, this is called Estate Street, so I have to ask if you have your own estate plan.
oh man, you're putting me on the spot
Or do
here.
you have the state's plan for you?
Yeah, no, I need to. I know you've been on my list for a while now. We need to sit down and put a plan together because I do. And especially like my kids are at the age they're 20, 18, and 15. And I'm a single mom. So I've got a house, I've got, some assets and stuff like that, and a business. So definitely need to sit down and put together more than just a will, because I know that's not going to cut it if, or the will I have is outdated at least. But yeah, we need to get together and put together something because I'm sure the state's plan is not what I want.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I did want to ask what do you think your number one reason for not having done it yet is? Because there's people, everybody has their reasons for putting it off. Do you have one?
Right. I, what is my number one reason? If I'm being completely honest, I would say I have a hard time spending money on things that don't feel tangible. And I'm not saying it's not tangible because it is. And I've seen what you give your clients and it's incredible. But like my money focus goes on like baseball tournaments, mortgage payments, the kids need this. My son's going to be driving soon, all that stuff. So to think about, putting money into that, but I know in the back of my brain, just like with health and fitness, I know that in the long run, it's an investment, right? It's a better investment to make sure that the plan is in place. That way, if something happens to me, God forbid, like everything's going to go the way I want it to go, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah,
And
so
that's why
I
there
would
is
say
a plan.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
I feel, yeah. I mean, honestly, that's exactly right. I mean, most people, it's about the money, the lack of desire to talk about bad things happening to you
Uh-huh.
and or your kids. And then also procrastination, just like I'll get to that next week. And so I just always ask because we all have our reasons why we either put it off altogether or just do something on our own on LegalZoom or whatever and not really get guidance around it. And
And the
so,
funny thing is that now that we're having this conversation, that parallels or mimics the exact same reasons people don't want to hire a personal trainer or don't want it's because the
good
money,
point.
they say money for one thing, or there's a certain vulnerability to open up to a coach about your body and your lifestyle and stuff like that, just like talking to you about money and assets and family, stuff. So yeah, and procrastination. Oh, I'll do it next week. Oh, I'll do it next month, whatever. So I get those same excuses as a coach, which is kind of funny that, I guess that's where the human brain goes, right? There's always an excuse to not do something. So
I mean,
I
if it
just
makes
need
you
to
feel
do
any
it.
better, I can't remember the last time I had a really good workout. So we all have our reasons. And it
Yes.
is true. And I always say like planning is actually less expensive than what would happen if you didn't plan. Right. And I
Right.
think that's a big thing. Like you talk about a will, incapacity planning. I mean, medical science, they think it's a win if they save you from a stroke and they don't care if you're drooling on yourself in the corner, and
And
people
that's
don't
not who I
realize
am.
that. They're all about like, I don't care where my stuff goes or it all goes to my kids. I'm not worried. And I'm like, who's going to take care of you and be you legally, financially, and, making medical decisions for you if you can't?
Right.
And it's way more burdensome. You go through the court system. Courts, if you don't have a plan, the courts are going to pick someone that you don't know if that's who you would have wanted. It couldn't
Mhm.
even be strangers, like social workers.
Right.
And then they're in the court system forever. Every dollar spent on you, every year has to be accounted for, which you would want if it was a stranger, but you would not want that burden on your family. And so obviously, as I'm going to exercise more, I do encourage you to go get at least a basic plan in place, because it doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to actually be there.
Yes. And it's
So
peace of
we'll
mind for my
encourage
kids
each
too,
other.
because God forbid something happened to me and they have to make difficult choices like that they're going to have to live with for the rest of their lives. And there's always going to be that question, well, what if we would have done this instead of this, right? Where if I have it laid out, then I'm taking that burden off of them. Like, if this happens, you do this. Okay. They're going to do that. And then the consequences don't necessarily fall on their shoulders, right? Um, and yeah, making sure they get everything they want, especially since I still have one minor child, like, how does that work? And everything. So but yes, so we need to get together and schedule a chat. We'll talk about exercise and estate plans.
Yeah, we'll work out a barter.
There you go.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you joining me this morning. I am so excited for 2025 to see EverFit grow and continue to help so many women get healthier and feel better about themselves. I think that's the biggest thing that we all struggle with as moms. Every minute I take for myself means a minute away from the kids and away from clients and away from partners and my house and my dog and everybody else. It's like, how dare
Right.
I take that time for myself? But I do appreciate you coming on. Are there any final words of wisdom that you want to share before we sign off?
Uh, hmm. Not that I can think of, but thank you and congratulations on your podcast. That's so exciting. So
Oh,
I
thanks.
can't wait to see where this takes you. And just I love, the time we get to collaborate together and work together and chat and connect. So thank you for taking this time with me today too.
Absolutely. And I think that the theme today is just start, just do it.
Just get
Don't
started.
overthink it. Just
Yep.
call, call Samantha, get started.
Yes, just
Call
get started.
me, get
Yes.
started,
Yeah.
or just get started. I mean, at the end of the day, I think both of us realize that if they're not in the local area in Raleigh and sort of the greater Raleigh area, it doesn't mean that they can't get started. It means they just got to do it on their own and find the right sources and resources for themselves. So
Yeah.
take care. Thanks so much, Samantha.
All righty. Have a great day.